The following is for adults who have suffered trauma as a child, particularly abuse by the responsible adults in their lives. Abuse includes physical, emotional, and sexual. This audio focuses on emotional abuse, which is always present when physical or sexual abuse occurs, but also happens on its own. Before we begin, I want to acknowledge something important. Even good parents may sometimes say hurtful things in moments of stress, like, "You should be ashamed of yourself," or "If you can't do it right, don't do it at all." The difference is that loving parents usually regret those words, acknowledge their mistake, and try to do better. With abusive parents or caregivers, however, these kinds of messages are repeated frequently, consistently, and without apology. They become a pattern, and over time they shape the child's beliefs about themselves. This audio is for addressing those repeated destructive messages. So as we discuss these messages, keep in mind that what makes them harmful is not a single moment, but the pattern of abuse. Although the act of abuse is horrible, often the worst part is the long-term consequences. These consequences come from what you were taught to believe about yourself because of the abuse. Abuse taught you lies, and because of those lies, you may still be suffering in adulthood. First, it's important to recognize something. The past can no longer hurt you. I know this can be difficult to believe because everything within you indicates that the past still does hurt. But what continues to hurt is not the past itself, but what you learned about yourself because of the past experiences. When you have been abused, you have learned messages such as you are worthless or unlovable. Again, what actually hurts now is not the past itself. It's the beliefs you carry from the past into the present. The past taught you these things, but the past no longer exists and no longer hurts you. Your hurt is in the present. It may have been fueled by past experiences, but the hurt is now. There is one exception. If the people who hurt you in the past are still hurting you now. But again, that is not the past. That is present pain. The fortunate thing about your hurt being in the present is this: you can do something about it. You can change the beliefs that are hurting you. You can recognize these beliefs in the past are wrong. They were taught to you by people who were sick, disturbed, or incapable of giving you the care you deserved. They hurt you and they lied to you. But those are lies and they do not define who you are. Take a breath for a moment and remind yourself, the hurt I feel is from my present beliefs, not from the past. I can change what I believe. The following is about some of the lies you may have been taught and the truths you can use to replace them. If you find the information in this audio fits your situation, listen to this audio often until you fully understand and believe how these lies have affected you. Also, to help reinforce challenging these lies, you can listen to the daily practice, Strengthening the Truth for Abuse Survivors. Just as you were told the lies over and over until you were brainwashed into believing these terrible lies about yourself, you can tell yourself the truth over and over until the truth becomes stronger than the lies. As you begin to believe the truth about yourself, you will also find yourself making changes to improve your life. It can also be helpful to write down any of the following lies that you learned and remind yourself that they are lies whenever you notice them influencing your thoughts or feelings. Remind yourself that it is a lie that you no longer wish to believe. A common lie told by emotional abusers is, "You will never amount to anything." We know this is a lie because no one can predict what a child will become. Some of the most incorrigible children have been very successful as adults, and some of the most obedient children have struggled. Someone who makes such a statement is deliberately cruel and hurtful, or horribly ignorant, because there's never any beneficial reason to make such a statement to a child. Such a statement is not motivating, but is only hurtful. If you were told this lie often enough, you may have developed doubt instead of confidence. Over time, this doubt can become a self-fulfilling prophecy. You stop trying because you expect failure, and then you conclude, they must have been right about me. However, the lie is not true. The only reason the outcome of failure occurred is because of the belief in the lie. If you were taught that no matter what you did, you would succeed, you would have a different belief about yourself, and likely a different outcome. But the truth is, it is the belief in the lie that is holding you back. To change this belief, start by looking at yourself more objectively. Notice what you are capable of. Choose a new belief. As long as I keep trying, I have not failed. Instead of judging yourself, focus on doing, on trying, without worrying about success or failure. Do what you can today. Keep growing, keep learning, and keep moving forward. Affirm to yourself, I am capable of growth and change. As long as I keep trying, I haven't failed. Another lie often told by perfectionistic, critical parents is, if you can't do it right, don't do it at all. This message creates fear of mistakes, and it doesn't even make sense when examined closely. How can anyone learn if they believe this? Mistakes are necessary for growth. All this lie does is create fear of trying due to fear of making a mistake. The truth is, it is always better to try. Even if you stumble, you are learning. The most successful people in this world have also made the most mistakes because they were willing to risk, to try, and to fail. Be willing to make mistakes. Mistakes provide us with important lessons. Affirm to yourself, it is better to try than not try. Mistakes help me learn. A very destructive lie told by controlling abusers is, no one will ever love you like I do. This lie is destructive because it confuses abuse with love. The abuser uses it to make you believe their mistreatment is somehow caring. A harmful aspect of this belief is that it makes you believe you aren't lovable by any normal person. You may come to believe that to be loved, you have to put up with abuse. If you grew up believing this, you may even have found yourself in adult relationships where the lie was repeated. However, this is a lie. Someone who loves you does not abuse you. You do not need to tolerate abuse to be loved. There are good people in this world who can love without abusing. Do not believe that the only way you can be loved is by someone who will hurt you. People in healthy relationships do not say this. Why? Because it isn't true. You can be loved by many people, and true love is never abusive. Instead, the truth is, you deserve to be loved by someone who will treat you well. Also, although it may be difficult, learn to recognize that it is better to be alone than to be loved by someone who hurts you. By doing so, you will be loving yourself, which is much more important. Affirm to yourself, I deserve love without abuse. Real love is kind, respectful, and safe. Another common lie told by abusive parents is, You should respect me. I'm your parent. This is a lie because respect is earned, not received by demand. Typically, parents who say this are not deserving of respect. They expect to be respected due to their status as a parent. Abusive parents often confuse fear with respect. They berate, belittle, and force the child to comply, creating a false sense of respect rooted in fear. However, respect is a feeling based upon admiring someone due to their abilities, qualities, or achievements. Respecting a parent means that you admire their parental qualities and behavior. Respect is based upon how you are treated by your parent when you are growing up. If the parent treats you with respect, it is likely you will do the same. However, abusive parents are not respectful of you. They neither admire nor appreciate your qualities and achievements, yet they demand that respect be given to them. Because respect is an emotion, it cannot be demanded of someone. Emotions are natural reactions to a person or situation. They cannot be created on a whim due to a demand. You cannot normally be forced to feel something that isn't accurate. And if you are forced to feel a certain way, it is a form of brainwashing and isn't accurate. The abusive parent badgers and berates until you have a misconception of what respect truly means. You think you feel respect when what you really feel is fear. To combat this lie, recognize that it is okay to feel what you feel. If you don't respect your parent, it is because of how you were treated. It is not because you are ungrateful or selfish. It is because your parent didn't earn your respect. It is up to adults to create a safe and respectful environment. Affirm to yourself, respect is earned, not demanded. Often, abusers try to reframe reality. For instance, a common lie told by an emotional abuser is, "You were never abused, I never hit you." They try to make you believe that no abuse occurred because there wasn't any physical violence. But emotional abuse can be just as damaging, sometimes more, because it attacks your very sense of self. The truth is, even if you weren't hit, you could have still been abused. It is important to evaluate it based upon the intention and the effect it had on you. If you are uncertain, obtain another opinion. Find out if the way you were treated was normal and acceptable. If it was not, recognize that you were not at fault for how you feel. However, you may have to take the responsibility now for the direction of your life in adulthood. Affirm to yourself, my experiences were real. My feelings are valid. Abusers will often hurt a child and then ridicule the child about the emotional response with the lie, "You are weak if you cry," or "You are too sensitive." This allows the abuser to avoid responsibility by indicating the child's hurt response is exaggerated. The abuser tells you your feelings are wrong, which causes you as an adult to not trust your normal emotional response. And instead, you believe something is wrong with you for crying or feeling hurt. This is a lie because your emotions are not weakness but are information. When you cry, it means you have been hurt. It helps to remember that if you are hurt, you are doing nothing wrong when you express emotions. And being sensitive just means you are aware of your environment. Both are human and valid. The truth is, you have a right to feel what you feel. Abusers often dismiss emotions to protect themselves. Crying or feeling sad is a natural response to a behavior that hurt you. Also, continuing to believe this lie prevents you from grieving the wrongs that have been done to you. Grief is a healing process necessary to recover from abuse. Affirm to yourself, my feelings are natural. Crying is not weakness, it is healing. Another lie abused children may be told is, you should be ashamed of yourself. Even if a child has engaged in a terrible transgression against others, this statement should not be used because it is shaming the person rather than focusing on the behavior. It leaves the child believing they are bad, not that a behavior was wrong. Such a belief is not very changeable, whereas a behavior is changeable. When you have been abused as a child, you may feel guilt as an adult, even when you have done nothing wrong. It may be due to having been shamed as a child or made to feel as if you were a bad person rather than focusing on your behavior. Certainly, if you have done something wrong, it is appropriate to feel guilt. But if you feel guilt when you haven't done anything wrong, or for very minor things that others wouldn't even consider bad, such as setting boundaries or saying no, it may be due to this lie you have come to believe that something is wrong with you. Meanwhile, the true guilt belonged to your abuser. Often the people who have truly done something wrong, such as your abuser, don't feel guilt. They shift the blame to their victims, even convincing you that you caused the abuse. The truth is, feeling guilt when you have done nothing wrong is a sign of abuse, not of your character. The abuser was the one who is guilty of causing pain and hurt. Don't believe what the abuser told you about yourself. Affirm to yourself, I am not shameful. The abuse was not my fault. Another lie that abusers teach is to not question authority. I'm an adult, so do as I say. Although many parents do expect children to obey them, the abusive parent or caregiver does not tolerate any questioning of their behavior or authority. Most normal parents will explain to children the reasons for their expectations, but abusers want to be obeyed without any question. This is particularly troublesome because their behavior is the very behavior that should be questioned. Authority is not right just because. Authority is to serve a purpose, such as to protect you or to maintain order so that you can learn and grow. But just because someone is an adult or an authority does not give them the right to control you through abusive methods. The truth is, it's healthy to question authority. Someone who truly cares for you will welcome honest questions and will not use power to abuse. Feel free to question until you are satisfied. Don't follow others' demands without evaluating the appropriateness. Affirm to yourself, I have the right to question. My voice matters. Finally, some abusers give the message, I won't love you if you misbehave. Actually, this may not be a lie because the abuser may truly mean that if the child doesn't behave in the way they want, then they won't love the child. But the lie underneath is that they loved you in the first place. Love does not come with strings attached. Sure, when a child misbehaves, it is the parent's job to teach appropriate behavior. However, that isn't done through withholding love. A child needs to feel safe and certain of the love from caregivers. Through that certainty, the child can develop a normal curiosity and experiment with the world. Normal parents will help the child by setting limits in a loving way. The other part of this statement that is a lie is that a person who threatens to withhold love really isn't capable of true love in the first place. They don't understand the selflessness of love. Instead, they are making love about control. You don't need to allow someone to control you to be loved. Love is not about control. In fact, the opposite is true. Love is letting someone be free to grow in the way they were meant to. Affirm to yourself, Love is not control. I deserve love that is safe and free. There may be more lies that you were told as a child. By recognizing some of these common ones, you may also begin to recognize some of the ones that were more specific to your experience. As I said at the beginning, if this audio seems relevant to your situation, it may be important to frequently listen to it until you recognize the lies and refuse to let those lies control your life. Let's take a moment to bring everything together. The lies you were told as a child do not have to control your life today. What can you tell yourself instead of these lies? You do not need to judge yourself harshly. Simply keep trying. Every step you take forward matters. You do not need to fear mistakes. They are part of learning. They help you grow stronger. You can believe fully and without doubt that you are worthy of love and that real love never includes abuse. You can recognize that respect must be earned through kindness and care. It's never something you owe because of fear. If you don't respect your parent, it is because of how you were treated. It is not because you are ungrateful or selfish. It is up to adults to create a safe and respectful environment. Recognize that you are not at fault for how you feel, but that you do have to take responsibility now for the direction of your life in adulthood. You can allow yourself to feel your emotions and trust that your feelings are valid. Tears are a natural expression of sadness or grief. You have a right to feel what you feel. Recognize that you feel bad about yourself because that is what you were taught. It is not who you truly are. Don't believe what the abuser told you about yourself. You can give yourself permission to question authority, to speak up, and to decide what feels right for you. Someone who has your best interest in mind will not abuse you in the name of authority or power. And above all, remind yourself that love is never about control. Love is freedom, safety, and acceptance. Remind yourself frequently of these lies so that they don't continue to control your life. Now take a deep breath and affirm to yourself, the lies I was taught do not define me. I choose to believe in my worth, my strength, and my right to love and respect.